Hi and welcome to Policy Unpacked, a podcast by Global Policy Network. In this series, we dive into the policies shaping our world, from healthcare to sustainability to education, and we explore how these critical areas intersect to drive meaningful change. Whether you're a policymaker, practitioner, or just policy curious, we're glad you're here. Let's unpack policy together. I'm Ameneh Saatchi. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Policy Network. And today we have two guests, Chris Lowe, the Regional Director for Europe for Hong Kong Trade Development Council, and Mr. Charles Chow, Head of Corporate Affairs at AstraZeneca. So let's start with the basics. For those who might not be familiar, Chris, can you give us a quick introduction to Hong Kong Trade Development Council and your role as a Regional Director for Europe?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Chris, and I'm representing the Hong Kong Trade Development Council here in Europe. We actually a statutory body in Hong Kong, founded since 1966. We are a facilitator and agencies that helps basically businesses to connect between Hong Kong and the world. So on the one hand, we support a lot of our Hong Kong companies to expand into different markets across the group. But at the same time, I think Hong Kong being a free trade economy, being an open platform, we actually welcome and support a lot of European-based or actually global companies to make use of the Hong Kong platform to expand their businesses into Asia. My team here in Europe actually consists of 13 kind of clusters, covering most of actually the markets in Europe. So I think with this global connection, that help us a lot into connecting with different businesses in the region to help them understand more about Hong Kong, to also help our Hong Kong companies to have easier and potential market access into the region.
Thank you so much, Chris. And let's go to Charles. To start off with, will you tell us a little bit about your role at AstraZeneca?
Yeah, thanks so much for the invitation to the interview. And as Chris mentioned, AstraZeneca is one of the great partner for government, TDC as well. And we are a global leading pharmaceutical company which always have a mission to harness the power of science to make health happen for people, society, and the planet, of course. And in our major area, which we focus on is oncology, cardiovascular and metabolic disease, respiratory and rare disease. And on a global level, we roughly invest around 13.5 billion in research and R&D. And of course, there's a lot of projects going on innovation. And with respect to my role in Hong Kong and Macau market, I support the general manager with another 200 colleagues, professionals across different functions, of course, including R&D. To help advancing some of the mission and most importantly, help to transform the patient outcomes. And so happened in Hong Kong and Macau as the corporate affairs lead, we are celebrating the 35th anniversary and hope to continue to present our products, innovative solutions, and commitments to Hong Kong communities in large.
And congratulations on your anniversary. And let's go to Chris. So how does Hong Kong Trade Development Council support international businesses like AstraZeneca across sectors like health and biotech?
Mm-hmm. I think overall, I put it healthcare being a very important subject to everyone. I think this is to our concern on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, this is also a vibrant and also growing industries in the world, I believe, and particularly in Hong Kong. For our job, we see this not just as a business opportunity, it's also an important subject, I think, for a lot of government, for a lot of policymakers to look into how they can work better or, facilitate each other from the business side, from the innovation clusters, but also from investors' perspective to grow together. I think at the end, we're looking for some solutions that can help us to live healthier, to live longer. And for us, we definitely see the growing clusters in Hong Kong beneficial, not just in the region. I think we have been doing quite well in terms of research and development over the years. At some point, we face probably some bottleneck, like many other economies, into how we can commercialize these research and development findings into some more viable solutions in the business world, in the commercial world. And I think at the end, we hope this could accelerate in terms of providing the best solutions, the useful solutions to all the patients, but also for the general public. So I think this is important for us. What we see as an important vehicle is through our different programs and activities in Hong Kong and elsewhere to help connect different players and stakeholders in the healthcare clusters. So by this, I think like companies as Chow is leading in AstraZeneca in the region, I think this is important for us to see what will be the support that we can provide to them. And vice versa, from our clusters, how we can let them understand better in terms of market access in the world. I think in a nutshell, this is something basic but important for a lot of companies.
Absolutely. And Chris, the fifth edition of the Asian Summit on Global Health wrapped up just a few months ago. It covered some major themes like health equity, AI in healthcare, the aging population. Which of these themes seem to really spark interest from the international or European attendees, and why do you think that was?
I think it was a very exciting event. We actually have close to 3,000 participants joining the summit as our audiences, and by large, close to 60 countries and regions were represented at the event. So it was very exciting. To me, there was a lot of interesting dialogue and discussion among experts and speakers that we have invited. Like you mentioned, I think health equity is a big subject for a lot of policymakers, but also of an interest from the business perspective. So like the opening section when the Director General of the World Health Organization spoke about the importance of a more resilient health system we need in the world, I think this is very much echoed and also agreed by our policymaker in Hong Kong. We definitely see how these policies can drive the way forward into providing more equitable healthcare system in Hong Kong and also in the world. For the business as well, I think this is important as to how they can make use of their new innovation, how to make use of their solutions and strategies to help build up or connect this important system in the healthcare world. So I think this is definitely a very interesting topic. We would love to continue this dialogue to talk about. In other areas, is definitely a lot about artificial intelligence. I think this is not just healthcare. Basically, when we read the news every day, it's all about AI these days. But on a more kind of a down-to-earth kind of perspective, we do see a lot of interesting examples that were showcased and discussed at the summit this year. A lot of interesting AI applications, not from a more kind of like a research and development angle, but into more an execution, implementation stage has been seen and also even been adopted by some of the practitioners through this conference. So I think this is also in other exciting areas we would love to talk more about.
Absolutely, and would love to hear more about that too. So let's just go to Charles quickly. So Charles, how does AstraZeneca see the role of ASGH in advancing the regional healthcare collaboration and engaging regional and global stakeholders in these key healthcare issues?
Yeah, inevitably, ASGH, I mean, the summit on the global health has been a renowned international and regional summit. And it's very good that it showcase help to bring a platform for a lot of local research from universities and of course research institutions funded by government, one of the scheme under like Inno Hong Kong. And of course, as a pharmaceutical leader in the region and Hong Kong, we are very grateful and honored to be participating in this aspect. In respect, I mean, like we have strategies setting up in 2023, supporting government, having the global R&D Hong Kong Center in Northern Metropolis. And also we have bring in like, since then we bring in like 50 clinical trials to Hong Kong and a lot of phase 3 research, early stage first in human project as well. So this summit actually helped to reach a lot of participants, stakeholders, which is beneficial not only for companies like us, but the ecosystem itself. And I feel like it also aligned with the government objective in pioneer and promoting Hong Kong as a global biotech center. And TDC has been one of the major stakeholders and major promoters, connectors for the industry, bridging Hong Kong to the world.
How exciting. And ASGH isn't just about talks, there's also networking, exhibitions, and business matchmaking. So, Chris, can you walk us through how Hong Kong Trade Development Council turns those conversations into real world outcomes?
Sure. Basically, I think the Asia Summit on Global Health is under the umbrella of the International Healthcare Week, which we orchestrated and organized. So basically, there are two important events that were organized by the HKTDC, including the summit, as well as the Hong Kong medical and supply exhibitions that are concurrently held during the same arena. The interesting part is, like you said, it's not just about talk. I think talks is important. We need this conversation to start, the kind of potential collaboration. But what we have been doing behind the scene has been a lot of preparation in helping every single projects who were featured and who were even, join our pitching section to have a chance to meet with potential partners, potential collaborators, or even investors. So all together during actually the events, we were very happy to share that over 1,000 matchmaking meetings actually were organized on a one-on-one basis. So you can imagine all project owners and also research team had a good chance to meet with potential collaborators, as I illustrated. And I think this is interesting to put talks into actions. I think, like I said, the conversation is important. The occasion, though, is important. As I said, more than 57 actually countries and regions attended the events. They came for reasons. I think they don't just come to talk about different subjects. They were happy and they were actually excited to see different innovations and solutions that were presented by all our interesting projects. So we already received some very good feedback in terms of a next step of some potential collaboration. So these are, I think, for example, some of the outcomes we are very glad to have put forward too. Some hospitals, for example, in Hong Kong, already in principle agree to adopt some new innovation systems, including those AI solutions I mentioned, to help them to facilitate the process of diagnostics and also even a cure of some diseases. So I think this is actually a good movement for us to continue this effort into organizing this important event on a yearly basis.
So, Charles, going to you, Chris just mentioned how collaboration was a really big theme at ASGH across the sectors, across borders, across disciplines. From your perspective, what makes cross-sector partnerships work in the healthcare space, especially in fast-evolving areas like oncology or AI-enabled diagnostics?
Yeah, I think collaboration partnership is the key, and I feel like shared ambition to address the unmet clinical needs is the major driver as well. And it would be a fundamental element to bring in like partners together. And AstraZeneca has been patient-centric, one of our mission, and we always work across the ecosystem to help accelerate the delivery of better, accessible, and innovative therapeutic products. And I feel like it pushed the boundaries of science and to transform the outcomes. And one of our networks we call A Catalyst is similar to what TDC happening. Like a lot of good sport and offices across the globe and help to bring in global solutions to China, Hong Kong. And of course, Hong Kong and Macau is one of the satellite office to support this network so that we bring in entrepreneurs, startup, academics, and of course government partners, public sectors like TDC, to bring in, of course, what you mentioned like AI. Actually, one of the most pioneer elements that help reshaping the landscape in drug discovery, disease screening, and is really defining a lot of partnership model which we haven't seen in the previous decades. And ultimately, like healthcare providers, regulators, patient, and of course, one of our members in this industry would help to keep pace with the innovation. Therefore,
And it sounds super exciting, all the fantastic things you're doing and putting patients at the heart of it all. Now let's go to Chris. Were there any standout stories for you from this year's summit?
I would say so, yes. I think very excitingly, we see a lot of first comers and participants to join these important events. There were actually quite a number of European countries, of course, including the UK, but also from Switzerland, Germany, France, Finland, to name but a few. They actually all led their delegations to join. Some of them actually even showcased their solution, such as our debut UK pavilion, that were present at the exhibitions that we organized. So altogether, over 15 companies from the UK had a chance actually to showcase their diagnostic solutions, their digital health solutions, and even in some cases, solutions that help define and also detect early stage diseases. I think for them it's a good experience, but at the same time, these matchmaking exercise throughout the conference and exhibitions help them to connect to some potential partners. I know there have been some follow-ups, they have been in discussion already. And interestingly, I think my team has done a very good job into helping them to understand better the ecosystem in Hong Kong by also visiting some of the important setup in Hong Kong. Of course, including Chow's setup in the region. So I think that this is one example to showcase how we can help European-based companies who don't necessarily know about the market, who don't necessarily know who to contact with, to start the journey actually through this important event. I also give you one example, as I mentioned, in terms of the applications of hospitals. There are actually two startups who provide AI solutions to detect early stage diseases that were actually of an interest to some important hospital group in Asia. So they are already in the contractual stage into this early partnership. There are also actually one interesting examples I remember. There's actually projects with a device that is developed to detect basically as a portable device for liver kind of scan. So this is actually interesting because usually these kind of processes need always to go to the hospital in a sort of like a more sophisticated environment to do. Whereas now, with AI, with all these new medical devices, they are happening to take care of patients or early stage kind of symptoms by not necessarily visiting the hospitals. I think these kind of portable solutions would be our next trend to grow, particularly with the strong clusters within the Greater Bay Area, where a lot of prototyping and even manufacturing of medical devices are taking place.
Absolutely. And it sounds like, the summit is a great place to hear about these new innovations, these startups. And also it fast tracks the partnerships between the innovators and the implementers. So it sounds like a great place for people to come together and learn, to be at
Yeah.
the forefront of innovation and also adoption.
This is exactly, I think, the objectives how we set up, this platform. We believe early stage development research is important, but as I said, along the value chain, it's how the project is to commercialize, to gain the traction and also the interest from the investors, but also the business, so that they can grow further, they can scale up. I think this is a lot that also Charles would share with me in how we help the startup ecosystems to talk with each other and also to collaborate with each other.
And Charles, going to you, were there any partnerships that developed this year at the summit that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of companies, local companies, as I mentioned, we always work with government, with TDC, Oasis, and a lot of potential energy has come from the partners. What we umbrella with the government and the A catalyst, and from across early diagnosis to disease, I feel like we see the energy from the Hong Kong. And what I have been serving AstraZeneca and also previous with the public organization, we feel like Hong Kong people, Hong Kong startup and community has been supported by the government funding, a lot of good funding, a lot of good expertise. And one important thing is that we got a lot of local renowned, experts in universities. As I mentioned, in the research institutions, they empower the community and themselves. So as we see, there's a good ranking for university in Hong Kong, and they have a lot of research, good discovery, and what we call technological transfer. So across the private and public partnership, we will see a lot of energy there. So Hong Kong would get another InnoPark, the third InnoPark in Hong Kong, called HSITP, Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technological Park, in the northern side of Hong Kong, and we stationed there not only the R&D Hong Kong Center, but also the A Catalyst there. So we would include a lot of potential partners, startup, and we would give a mentorship, advisory, and partner with government funding to grow them. So I feel like TDC has played a very important and pivotal role in this aspect for many years. Yeah.
And this year marks GPN's first time at the Global Summit. So we were a global affiliate partner at the ASGH. What a lot of our listeners will know about GPN is that we work across 4 different types of pillars. We build those global and national networks to connect change makers. We co-create innovative policies through empowering local communities through our fellowship program. And we ensure that they're culturally grounded, and we create a platform for global policy exchange. So going to you, Chris, what is it about GPN that made you want to work together with us? And how do you see this partnership helping to drive global health progress across the region?
I think the Global Policy Network is an important players. I think we're very glad to have you on board to join almost 30 other global affiliated partners at the last Asia Summit on Global Health. To us, we totally agree with you. You mentioned about cross-border. You mentioned about how policymakers and implementations of businesses can talk to each other. I think we are actually sharing our same vision, how we can facilitate and provide such kind of platform for different stakeholders to have a chance to discuss in different settings, but also in a more kind of fruitful discussion where policies can facilitate the implementation, but actually business can also drive how policymakers can see and support. I think this is important to us. So we love to continue working with the network, and I'm glad that your fellowship program is also a very good initiative. Perhaps we can discuss further how we can work together.
Thank you so much. And one thing people often ask is how global pharma companies like AstraZeneca localize partnerships and offerings. So, Charles, how do you make sure that your brand is globally relevant while still accessible in global markets?
Yeah, at AstraZeneca, I mean, we always navigate the balance by anchoring our identity in our core values, such as like scientific innovation, patient focus, and of course, equally important is our deep understanding on each local market. So we try to get partners, I mean, in Hong Kong, so that we could study through the complexity of the, healthcare system, regulatory frameworks, infrastructure, and also a lot of others consideration. And I think with the local partners, then therefore we can adopt the approach and tailor make the partnership. Perhaps like working with the healthcare providers, patient advocacy groups, as I mentioned, the universities, and of course partners like TDC. And this kind of collaboration is truly important to enable us to align with these global standards. And especially, I want to share a bit on the, amazing government policy as well. Like there's a Greater Bay Area International Clinical Trial Institute, and we are one of the strategic partner with government. Therefore, we will support and tap in like how all these real world data, and of course how to help amplify the research collaboration among this. And we have a lot of good MOU ongoing with a few major universities in Hong Kong, and of course how to bring in the global R&D professionals and align with the local needs, so that the collaboration would be exciting in this area, Northern Metropolis, and benefit Hong Kong as well.
And that is exciting, both that global perspective as well as having that local country footprint as well, and the diversity that you have as well in terms of working with patients, governments, and academic institutes as well. So on that, AstraZeneca is an award-winning employer for diversity and employee welfare while being a leading pharmaceutical manufacturer. So Charles, what is at the heart of your mission, and how does it produce such successful outcomes for you?
Yeah, I mean, like as a global and of course one of the leading pharmaceutical companies in Europe, we focus a lot on diversities and also the employee professional growth. And because as our core mission is to deliver a lot of innovative, life-changing drugs to patients around the world. Similarly, I mean, we of course wish to include and all these employees to embrace this idea, to believe that like how to bring in the innovative innovation and collaboration, not only on the workplace but to the communities. So we always promote a healthy work-life balance and working environment that talents can thrive. So we focus a lot of investment not only on medicine R&D but our people. So I feel like with this mission and vision, so that we could benefit the patient and communities around the world, and of course in the belief and spirit of the well-being of our employees.
And GPN's Medicines Policy Series is creating new insights into the future of pharmacy, pharmaceuticals, supply chains, and medicines in the UK and across different nations. Just last night, we're so proud to say that we held our first roundtable on the Nigerian pharmaceutical supply chain. So Hong Kong and China are essential to this global discussion. What would you say is the main priority for medicines in this region? And I can ask that to you, Charles.
Yeah, and I think it is very important. Like again, we wish to celebrate like what GPN have been doing to facilitate that, and truly important for patient innovative drug is very helpful and essential. So I feel like advanced medicines and therapies would help. I mean, patient to get a better access, and we support a lot, like how to do the speeding up of approval and reimbursement. It would be really essential to work with government to facilitate that, so that patient can get the best in class innovative drug, which from the very beginning of R&D research discovery to after like clinical trials and ultimately to the market. So this is really important. So I feel like we work closely, I mean, like in the region to work with government to incentivize, I mean, like clinical trials, bringing in like researchers, doctors, and everyone in the ecosystem to facilitate the drug development. And also, I feel like we do a lot giving back to the communities, partnering with hospital authority and a lot of good partners in the local region to help scaling up the disease management, like a lot of things like diabetes, hypertension, and potentially cancer in the future as well. So again, like better access is the most important way that we feel this is the priority in our region.
And absolutely, and on that as well, that early access to innovative drugs and innovative solutions is so important to the prevention discussion and in helping people to get treated much sooner. Now, how important would you say is that cross-sector advisory work, such as that offered by GPN, in developing that scalable real-world healthcare solutions in Asia? And how can organizations like Hong Kong Trade Development Council, AstraZeneca, GPN work together to help the private sector engage more meaningfully with communities, governments, and innovators on the ground?
Yeah, I think before Chris sharing the amazing work has been doing for decades from TDC, I mean, I share a bit on the private sector perspective as a pharmaceutical companies. I feel like we are one of the components, but without government, without organization like TDC, I mean, there won't be a great platform. And what important of this platform and the partnership developing, because they know actually what the resources could be utilized and activate the needs and make the alignment between the vision and resources and network of private sectors injecting to the ecosystem. And I feel like the data and also the share goal and also the framework contribute. I feel like this is very important. And one key thing is that the TDC or other meaningful partners like GPN actually you facilitate the discussion and feedback, because not very often there's a dialogue. Sometimes in some region may be broken, but in Hong Kong it's beautiful. I mean, very remarkable, because we got a lot of people actually work in a revolving doors. So some of them, like myself, has been working before with government for a few years, and then to public sector, Park, then to private sector. Similarly, private sector, a lot of talents joining the government, and public organization as well. So it's a very energetic, very good network, and a lot of solution is coming up through fireside chat, forums, closed door meeting with the government. So I feel all these meaningful discussion, not only from the ground, actually it brings to the patient again, like helping the million of people in Hong Kong in the region.
And over to you, Chris.
To supplement, I think we as trade promotion agencies, we see ourselves as the interface between the public and the private. I think this is important as much as probably also the global policy network is trying to achieve. Definitely, if you ask different stakeholders, in many ways, I think we have a common goal. Though we are sometimes probably kind of silo into looking at the perspective, either from a policymaker's perspective or from a commercial perspectives. So with these platforms that we are organizing, with all these initiatives that we are trying to do, we hope that we can bring this common goal together in a more tangible, but also kind of like an exchangeable way to facilitate policies to work, to facilitate business to support. I think one example when we experienced during the pandemic was that there has been some sort of burden in terms of the public health for different nations, for different locations. By and large, I think the private world can play a much more ways, to support the overall, as we said, sustainable or resilient healthcare system. When you talk about the future of pharmacy, I like the word future, because if we look at the future, we actually see the problem or the issues we need to solve right now. With a lot of aspects, sometimes policies would take time to implement. In this kind of a dialogue, in this kind of a conversation, we actually help to bring everyone on board to discuss or to exchange what could be viable, what could be doable. In this sense, I think business can be more ready to provide, these kind of innovative solutions, to suggest ways to help support or alleviate some burden of our public healthcare system. And on the other side, of course, policymakers, I believe they are always open-minded. They want to help, of course, their society to support a more equitable healthcare system. Though sometimes these input from the private side benefit a lot in terms of their policy-making processes. So I believe if we can play this role together, if we can bring all these stakeholders together to share common goals and to work on that, that's, I think, the most kind of important role we can all play.
Absolutely. And then it's so empowering to hear about that diversity and bringing the multi-sector players together to co-create and uncover the problems, but also the solutions. And Chris, looking ahead, why should European stakeholders, whether they're investors, entrepreneurs, clinicians, policymakers, get involved in future Hong Kong Trade Development Council events like the Asian Summit or the International Healthcare Week?
I think the beauties of many events that we organize in Hong Kong is that it's not just about Hong Kong. It's truly international. I think they are all attended and participated by basically different economies from around the world. That makes the events much more appealing as a trip to go to Hong Kong, not just to meet with our partners in Hong Kong, but to meet other partners from different places around the world. I think this is important. If we look at the context when we host this event in Hong Kong, being the hub or the kind of focal point in Asia, it's interest to a lot of European companies and investors, because I think there are lots of compatibility between Asia and Europe these days. Just a few characteristics we think about Asia. We actually are facing an aging populations for a lot of nations in Asia. So healthy aging, silver market, I think these are kind of like the buzzword, to talk about, but actually very realistic kind of issues that we need to tackle with. These are new opportunities for sure for a lot of European companies and also the healthcare community. We see innovation is growing in Asia, a lot from mainland China, but also from different nations in Asia. So this is actually interesting because innovations should always be more kind of like collaborative. It should be cross-border, if you ask me. So this kind of collaboration definitely can accelerate innovation to growth and to implement. So I think this is also a very interesting kind of happening in Asia that Europe should not miss. I think we should work together. Thirdly, I think it's in terms of investment opportunities or kind of fundraising opportunities. So this is by and large also the strength of Hong Kong being the international financial hub. So we see a lot of happening with venture capitalists or even projects being listed without any revenues, but of course with a pipeline of kind of a clinical approval. So this is actually all new happenings through Hong Kong. Just this year, for the first half of the year, we see already 10 medical and biotech company being listed publicly in Hong Kong. So I think they managed to raise funds through the network and the pool of funds from Hong Kong. And probably lastly is the kind of interesting approach if we look at healthcare. We actually mentioned in the summit this year about traditional medicine and the potential collaboration with Western medicine. I think there are different approaches into cure the disease and prevent the disease. So this is probably another aspect potentially for a lot of European community to think about and to work together.
And are there any upcoming Hong Kong Trade Development Council initiatives that our audience should keep an eye on? Any this year or next year?
Sure. For those who are based in Europe, I believe many of the community would attend events such as Medica in Germany later this year. We, of course, will have our Hong Kong pavilion setting up there to showcase some of our medical solutions and devices there. So for those who have a chance to visit the event, do come by and visit us. We actually continue throughout the year to support our healthcare and biotech industries, as Charles mentioned earlier, how we can also help them to connect here in Europe. So Medica is an exhibition that we participate, but we actually would lead a delegation to Italy in late November in an event called Think Business in Hong Kong. It's not just about healthcare, like we said, it's cross-sector, but for a lot of interest of how innovations from Hong Kong can contribute, to also the development here in Europe and vice versa. So these kind of initiatives that the HKTDC is organizing would hopefully, bring more interest with the community of the GPN, but also with all our audiences here.
And our podcast listeners would love to hear about any developments that are in your pipeline in the next 6 to 12 months. What are some things that they can look forward to?
I probably suggest two initiatives that we are running. Actually, HKTDC also run a startup acceleration program called Startup Express. It's actually an international event. We welcome also startups from Europe who have an interest to potentially raise funds in Hong Kong or to meet with the ecosystem to join this competition. So this is an event that we will organize in Hong Kong in December, and application is ready right now for those who are interested in. The other event is in next January. It's also a very important annual event organized by the HKTDC and the Hong Kong government called the Asian Financial Forum. This is another platform for a lot of investors from Europe to have a chance to go to Hong Kong to meet with some projects and also to discuss potential collaborations.
And over to you, Charles. What can our listeners expect about developments in the next 6 to 12 months from AstraZeneca?
Yeah, and to supplement, and of course, the first thing is you will see us in a lot of TDC events and stuff, and we are one of the supporters for TDC, and have to promote TDC and as a Hong Kong resident as well. I feel startup in Europe, companies in Europe should join and knock the door to have a chat with the TDC teams in different regions in Europe to see what going on, an exhibition in Hong Kong, and to align with our AstraZeneca mission in 2030 ambition. We would, of course, hoping to get groundbreaking innovative medicines, around 20 of them, and of course to advance green and low carbon development as well. And to put it in mind, we would of course want to bring a lot of timely innovative drug, as mentioned earlier, to Hong Kong market. And one exciting thing is that the government has been setting up one of the major initiatives under the Health Bureau called Hong Kong Center for the Medical Product Regulation, CMPR. And with this collaboration, we will be one of the major supporters for the government, hoping to promote some excellent drugs, innovative drugs in the healthcare system. And second of all, Hong Kong as a super connector and value adder to the system. So we will continue to support the policies such as Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, medical products like which actually would benefit a lot of patients in the Greater Bay Area. Facilitating the drug to getting into the Greater Bay Area and benefit millions of patients. So this field would be the major development for the next few months, and we hope to continue to partner with great people like GPN, of course, our Hong Kong partner TDC as well.
And it sounds very exciting. So, we're also excited because we're going to be working on a podcast series called The Best of Hong Kong, where we'll be exploring what Hong Kong has to offer in the healthcare development space and beyond. So, for both of you, who would you like to see on this series? You can give a shout out to a person, an organization, or or a topic that you'd like us to explore.
For sure. I mean, there are a lot interesting stakeholders who would love them to be, featured in your podcast. Definitely, including some of our affiliated partners in Hong Kong of the Asia Summit on Global Health. I think if I describe the ecosystem in Hong Kong, definitely interesting startups which we have come across at the event, but also some of our research team based in the universities or even the Hong Kong laboratories. We have actually close to 20 laboratories in Hong Kong that are focusing on health-related research and development studies. And this is not just a Hong Kong initiative. Every single laboratory is actually with partnership with a very prestigious research institutions or universities from around the world, including quite a few, in the UK. So I think these should be, some important guests. Probably you can consider to invite them to join.
Absolutely. And what about you, Charles? If we were to give you a wish list of a person, an organization, or even a topic, what would you choose?
Yeah, I would feel like our partners like TDC has been mentioning, like a lot of good startup and companies, of course, would be valuable. And nevertheless, I feel like technological transfer office in some major university in Hong Kong would be valuable because they groom a lot of good companies, and some of them has been going out to regional and go across a regional and global levels. And of course, besides TDC, have the privilege to work for government for a few years. I feel like some of the departments, of course, from the bureau, like we call ITIB, promoting innovation and new advancement technology to Hong Kong, and other arms like Oasis or the InnoPark I mentioned called HKTDC would be available partners. With all of this has helping Hong Kong to grow to global level.
And for any of our listeners who are thinking, this sounds so exciting, how do I get involved? What's the best way for them to connect with Hong Kong Trade Development Council, whether they want to attend one of your events, exhibit, sponsor, or collaborate?
Sure. I mean, our headquarters is based in Hong Kong, but gratefully, we have actually 51 offices across the group, including 11 here in Europe. So we actually have a very energetic and proactive team. So for those who are interested to learn more about all these opportunities, feel free to connect to us. All the contact information is available on our website, hktdc.com. And for those who are based in the UK, of course, our London office is happy to help.
That's wonderful. Now we're going to go to the quick fire rounds. So, Chris, tell me about someone, whether it's a person you know or a public figure, that has inspired you.
Wow, that's actually a tricky question. I have more than one, of course. To me, I think a lot of interesting, inspiring people who actually have a vision and has the capability to drive the change of the world in the healthcare space actually do inspire me. I think a lot has been actually named under the Nobel Prize, for example. I think these are actually very interesting scientists or researchers who can change the world. I mean, these are always inspirational stories to me.
Absolutely. And Charles, over to you. So tell me about a book you would recommend that an aspiring healthcare leader reads. And if you're not a book person, it could be a podcast or it could be an audiobook. What would you recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend a book which I studied like a few years ago called Good to Great. And I feel like a lot of startup companies or MNCs, I feel like many of them are very good companies, have been in the industry for many decades and many years. But as a person or as a companies or any members in the ecosystem community, I mean, we should strive to become the great. I mean, set the standard, keep on learning, and with the discussion earlier on a lot of stuff like R&D, AI, drug discovery. I feel like, I mean, across the few years, I mean, nobody could imagine things happen in such, I mean, fast speed, and every one of us have to maybe unlearn things and to learn new stuff. Of course, have to promote GPN. I mean, like, keep on. This is one of the episode only. I mean, listen to what GPN has been offering is, of course, one of the great ways to become a greater person.
Thank you so much. And Chris, if you weren't doing this job, what would you be doing? Did you ever have like an aspiration as a child, or is there something that, if you weren't doing this job, what would you do?
I have always been passionate to see how I can help everyone else. I think this is actually a very nice job for me to have a chance to connect to different businesses and people to learn about how we can help businesses as HKTDC. But if I have a chance to do something differently, maybe I can consider doing some sort of entrepreneurship myself. I mean, there's been a lot of inspiration from a lot of startups that I've met with when I was in Hong Kong. I think they are all very inspirational and a lot of ideas, if it can convert into action, is something I would love to try.
That is wonderful. That brings this episode to a wrap. Chris, Charles, thank you so much for speaking to me today. Is there anything you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
I mean, to me, I think great support, and also thanks again to the Global Policy Network. I think what you are doing is amazing. I would love to look forward to seeing the other episodes of The Best of Hong Kong very soon.
Thank you so much, Chris. And Charles?
And similar to what Chris mentioned, I mean, make sure you all subscribe to GPN and get the most important news about the globe, and also welcome to Hong Kong as well when you drop by, and of course find Chris and the team and also me in Hong Kong and Macau as well.
Thank you so much, both. And thank you to our listeners. Remember to follow us on our LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. And feel free to drop a comment below. See you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.